Hello, we are going live on all the platforms right now. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, Instagram over here. Hello, YouTube right here. And yes, we are going to record this for a podcast. So bear with
Recording
me
in progress.
as we do that right here as well. So sorry, Instagram, until I get a better setup for you over here. I'm going to give all my attention over here because this is recorded for a podcast and for LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live. And I will take all comments and questions at the end of this. But so for less editing reasons, I am going to only record here for this intention and this purpose to go ahead and get this started. Today, we're talking about beyond the money mindset. Beyond money mindset, what does that mean for you? Do you love it? Are you feeling resistance? Are you hearing dissuasion, self-doubt coming up with your thoughts, your delay, your giving your power away? We're going to get into all the juiciness of that today, because here's the key. In order to go beyond money mindset, which there's a lot of good money mindset courses and programs out there, I touch on it in my program called Money Codes, but we have to go beyond that. Because the mindset is just it. It's a set point. So where is your set point right now? Today, we're going to jump into your sneaky beliefs and how sneaky they can be, because you don't even realize that they're holding you back. That is the danger zone of beliefs, when you don't even realize that those are your blocks. We're going to talk about how you redefine success, freedom, and understand what true wealth beyond the financial success is all about when we're talking about aligning to your own definition of success in both business and your personal life, and not leaving out the other things that we typically sacrifice, right? Fulfillment, joy, time freedom, and of course, money freedom in all the ways. And then we're also going to jump into the power of choice, because you truly get to versus have to do the things that you've committed to, either in your limiting beliefs, old self default mode, or your power mode, which is your highest self, the person in your vision, right? How are you deciding? How are you living? How are you standing? And what are you saying yes to? And what are you saying no to? Because you always get to choose. So let's start with being aware of what you define in your world. What do you make meaning of? And what do you actually hold yourself accountable to in your meaning making mechanisms? Because here we are, all of us, you're a human being, we are meaning making machines, right? So, what do I mean by this? We are taught, or we had an experience that we left the experience, or experience is over, and we define that as something. It means something to us. It becomes truth. Like for me, my parents divorced when I was 5 years old. I thought, well, I can't trust anyone. Why love anyone? Just go be successful, live your life, have fun, and enjoy and experience the world with people that actually love you. If they even love you, because people can stop loving you. So why even love people? That was the truth I put behind marriage and love. Gross. Gross. And I'm happily married to a guy I met back in 2005. And we have 2 beautiful children. So thank goodness I didn't allow that to define to be my truth. Because that truth at times will block you. It will be your limit. And yet you can still set yourself free from that. So here's another example. How many of you can relate to this? I want more money, but I don't have more time. So if I don't have the time, I can't make more money. Is that your truth? Do you want that to be true? I have all the time, but no money to do what I really want to do. And so what do? It's like I have the time, but I don't have the money to do the things I want to do. How many of you have spoken that as your truth? And if only I had more money, I would. If only I had more money, I could and I would do blah, blah, blah. We're giving our power away to money. And if only I had more time, I could or I would. Blah, blah, blah. We're giving all our power away to time. And here's the thing, no matter how much money we make, we can never go back and buy back that time. When I became a mom, like I was super efficient before becoming a mom, but then when I became a mom, I became very efficient and very intentional with where my time went because I didn't realize how much I love being a present mom. And I didn't even realize I only had X amount of summers until they were probably going to run off and do what I did and travel the world and kind of leave me in the dust, or I left my parents in the dust. Actually, I traveled a lot with my father, so I thank him for that. So again, these are the stories that I used to tell myself, that my clients used to tell themselves. These are the stories that even as an aspiring high performer, high achiever, type A, are also the same stories that set limits in my life, even when life was really good. And these are the stories I continue to help my clients with to create it to be a thing of the past and no longer now or a part of their future. Because here's the truth. I watched people in my family work hard growing up, make really great money, and others not so hard and make really good money. My grandparents, for example, they were beyond generous even to this day. God rest my soul, my grandfather has passed, but my grandmother, she's carrying on the legacy of generosity. And I thought when I was younger that they were mega rich. They owned limousines at one point. They had multiple cars because my grandfather owned a buy here, pay here car dealership in Melbourne, Florida. They had 2 drywall companies. They've owned a couple mansions that I went into. Needless that I know that those mansions, they got somebody else out of a financial pickle. And they were investors, but they had to hurry up and sell the mansion. We never lived in the mansion. My grandparents never lived in the mansion, but I was just in awe. And because of the businesses they ran, I was in awe. And they didn't even have a high school diploma. High school, not college too, but no high school diploma. And now I laugh because I realized they were and still are hillbilly rich. And I say this with so much love and admiration because they lived a simple life below their means, at least from what I saw. Now, how they raised their children, my mom, my aunts, uncles, that's another story. But from what I saw, they were reinvesting their money back into things that gave them more. They also gave a lot of it away to family, friends, their employees. I know they helped people with some financial downfalls, and they wouldn't even bat an eye. And if you were to call my grandma today and say I needed a place to sleep, she would say, "How many beds do you need?" And she would let you in because they loved that they could help others out, and they still do. So I've been to the richest gatherings at country clubs. Not even money could buy your way into a membership. And I found some of those wealthy people very unhappy and very unfulfilled, very young, in my early 20s, late teens. I've also been to third world countries where some of the most financially poorest people were living a really good life and experiencing the richest life, doing what they love, still desiring more. But ultimately, if they did have more, all of them said they would give back to their community. They would bring it back to their hometown. And it wasn't the main focus. So what did this common theme have going on for both sides of this coin? It wasn't working smarter versus harder. It was the individual definitions of success, richness, freedom, what we all have been told to work hard for, right? And each definition was different and personal to each individual. It's the freedom of knowing that we can define what success is. It's the freedom of knowing that fulfillment for me and joy for me could be exactly the same or radically different for somebody else. There's no one way, and not one way is right or one way is wrong or good or bad, unless, of course, it's causing harm to another individual. Like, hello, that's a given. But there really is no right or wrong, good or bad. If somebody wants to judge me by the car I drive or the boat we have or the house we live in, That's for them to figure out. Could I have more of those things? Sure. Do I want more of those things? Maybe some days. You know what I really love? Investing a lot of money into traveling. Now, you talk to my dad and he's like, why do you rent that? Why do you go there? Why do you do the all-inclusive? Why don't you just do it this way? Right? Frugal dad. It's like, it's still traveling. It's still visiting the same area, but I like luxury. I love luxury. I love luxurious feelings. I'm a Taurus. Of course I do. Right? So it gets to be what I want it to be. My husband has different tastes and some similar, and it gets to be what he wants it to be. It's this yes and life by design. It truly can be what you want and what you desire and define it to be. But what are you making it mean? Are you making it mean something and then feeling bad about it? Or are you making it mean something else and feeling really good about it? Because how you make it mean and how you feel will result in how you experience it. And it can lead to real and true joy and fulfillment in both business and life. Not making one's definition, again, right or wrong, good or bad, because it just is. It just is. And honestly, you can go to imposter syndrome and self-sabotage. And at the end of the day, can we just love each other for what we love each other to be and what we stand for and what we don't, and not make it mean anything more than just that? This is going beyond money mindset. This is going beyond what's even possible, because the possibilities are limitless. The potentials are limitless. So if you're struggling with making more money or allowing yourself to receive more money, because I'm going to use making more money because everybody thinks we have to make the money. The money is already there, right? How do we allow ourselves to receive the money? How do we allow ourselves to create more time freedom? Well, it starts with your awareness and intention. This is why I'm an ROI coach. Yes, it's return on investment. I love helping people get a return on investment in every area of their life, especially the homes that they buy. Yes, I do have my real estate license in Florida. So if you're looking in Central Florida, hit me up. But it's return on your intention that comes first. And what you're resisting in the making of the more, what you're resisting in getting the thing, getting it versus allowing it. What stories are you creating and sharing and speaking into the world? What are you causing to be true for you? Because if you're feeling stuck, which stuck isn't a real thing, right? I promise, if you take time to get clear on what you think, what you're perceiving as what you're stuck in, it's simply just that. Whatever it is what you're giving your power away to. That thing has me doing this or stuck here. That person. I'm going to use some real examples here. There were times where I'm like, how can I have kids and run a really good business and be a great wife and have a life with my friends and. I was giving my power away to all these other things, thinking I had to sacrifice one for the other in order to have a great life. And it's like, no, how can I create a yes and? Because if you feel like you're stuck, you're giving your power away to a thing, a person, a situation, or a circumstance. And guess what? When you do that, you get what you focus on. It's a law, like gravity. We can't see it, but it exists. You're going to continue to be stuck. How many of you want to continue to be stuck? Not me, right? So we truly get what we focus on. And there's more of this power behind our words and the meaning that we're giving things. Because if you come to realize and actually admit it, and you shine some of that awareness light on it, this is why I'm sharing with you today all of these tools of how you can be first aware of it, and then what can I do with it, right? So we're going to activate something within you that you're going to be like, oh, I already know this, or oh my gosh, this is so new, and yet, oh, so much work. Like, do I really want to do the work? Well, it's up to you. How bad do you want what you desire? And if you follow me for some time, you will have heard me say these 3 phrases consistently. What you are not changing, you are choosing. What you are not changing, you are choosing. And you're like, oh, but I can't change that. I really want this, but and then I don't want that. Well, if by not changing it, you're choosing it, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. I've caught myself falling back into default every time I level up. I hustle and grind to take care of the things to move up to the next level. Well, the same hustle and grind energy that I apply to something to get to the experience, to make it become a reality, is the same energy that's going to be required to maintain and sustain that level of reality. This is why when I was doing high ticket sales, I would take a lot of phone calls, I'd close a lot of deals, I received 20K cash months. Thank you to the company for paying me that. I was also closing millions for these companies. Millions, right? So how you do anything is how you do everything, which goes along with today's talk. The quality of your questions is a reflection of the quality of your life. What questions are you asking yourself? Am I defining this to be true and it's not? Why am I defining this to be true for me if it's not true for this other person? And why am I envious of what this other person has? Because obviously they don't believe to be their truth, or they wouldn't be having what they have. They wouldn't be experiencing what they're experiencing. So I'm going to break this down into a little sneak peek of the AAA method, right? AAA method is, imagine when you're feeling resistance or you're feeling a challenge. Each A stands for something, and it also goes back to my childhood when I was stuck on the side of the road, my car broke down. I was a AAA member, so I called AAA to come help me out, right? So here's what the A's stand for. A, number one, is awareness. What are you choosing you wish you could change, or you no longer want to choose? So if you're feeling resistance with something or a challenge in your life, stop for just a second and be like, whoa, this isn't what I wanted, or this is not how I thought it would be happening or going. And if I keep doing this, I'm going to keep getting the same result. So now that I'm aware, we do step 2, which is the second A, assess without judgment. We're meaning making machines by default. So how can we assess and be curious without judging or adding additional limiting beliefs or meanings behind this? Ask myself, why am I choosing this? How long have I been choosing this? And my favorite is, what if it didn't have to be this way? Then what would it look like or be like instead? So we got awareness, we got assessing without judgment, be curious and playful, and ask ourselves quality questions. And then the third A is aligned action. Aligned action can still feel scary, especially if we're really breaking through a pattern that has been holding us back for decades, right? I know firsthand because there are certain patterns that still creep in, from people pleasing to controlling to type A to high performance. Yeah, it's a constant. It's not a check the box one and done, but now when it shows up, it's seconds. Most of the time, not all of the time, that I can shut it down and not allow it to take my power away. So this aligned action is what you're going to do is take the what if it was different and it's more aligned to the desire of your goal or the vision of what you want it to actually be. And then ask yourself, what's one step I can take right now to change this right now? Sometimes that one step is putting yourself in timeout so that you don't react and blow up to the world. Sometimes that one step is giving yourself space and grace so that when it is time to respond, you can respond with what's aligned to your vision, your desire, your goals. Because be aware. This is a big be aware. Going back to the awareness. Step 3, aligned action, can be super easy and clear most of the time or some of the time. But other times you might need to pause or pivot or come back to this when, again, you can give yourself that space and grace to really give yourself the time to be curious, feel into it, trust your intuition, think logically, like, hello, I've done this before, but did I do it this way? No, you didn't do it this way. So when we can have that think logically, feel intuitively, that's that head heart coherence, boom. Now we're humming on to a breakthrough of putting in the reps for our decision mastery. Now, let's go back to our culture real quick, because it set the norms. If you've had experienced any success in your life, which most of us had, hello, if you have internet and Wi-Fi and you've been able to do something of some sort in your life, you've probably had a taste of it. Now, maybe it's not, we're comparing apples to apples, not apples to bananas. We're not comparing ourselves to other people that have had mega success. But what's mega success? I don't know. What's your definition of that, right? So we're going back to the culture norms and the standards that have been set generation after generation after generation. And what they have decided fulfillment is. Because if we live by those old norms, I call them old paradigms, guess what? The novelty does wear off. I've had a couple different luxury cars and I love them. I'm grateful I have another one right now. It's also in the shop and I have a loaner. That's why I like luxury cars. When you take them into the shop, they typically give you a car and you're not sitting there for hours. And if it takes a couple days, it's fine because you're driving around still the same type of luxury car. But the novelty wears off, right? The newness. It's like the honeymoon phase, right? So how are we intentional with continuing to allow ourselves to desire more, but we're not actually off chasing the next thing without really allowing ourselves to enjoy the journey? Listen to that again. Allowing yourself to enjoy the journey. And again, when I became a mom, this became very loud for me. And even with my money mindset, it was like, wow, I only have X amount of summers that my children are in school that we can go do stuff with them, that they'll actually want to do something with us. And they kind of have to do what we do because they're not financially independent, right? So, and they come up with great ideas. They want to go do very amazing, massive things. Just this morning, my daughter was like, Dad, you've been to Hong Kong. How long does it take to get to Hong Kong? Where's Hong Kong? And I don't even know why Hong Kong popped up. Something came up and Hong Kong came out, right? And my husband used to go there a lot for work. And he's like, oh, it's this many hours on a plane. And she goes, oh, perfect. If it's that long, then we should get first class tickets. I'm ready to go. Okay. And when he said, okay, she's like, okay, so when are we going? He's like, well, we just need to talk it out and plan. And then the oldest sister's like, yeah, and you better save your money. So they're starting to understand the value of money. And yet their meaning behind a rich life starts with the foundational values that we set up in our home. Like our daughters were watching some ninja kids on YouTube or something, and they're like, wow, they're really rich. They get to go here. They live in Costa Rica and Hawaii and all these amazing places. I'm like, okay, well, do you think we're rich? And they're like, I mean, we have a nice car. We have a nice house. We get to go fun things. We go to really cool vacations all the time. And they're like, yeah, I guess we're rich, but we don't travel as much as they do. And I'm like, well, how much do you really think they're traveling? And do you realize their YouTube channel is their livelihood? They have to document all of their life. It's a job, right? A job. Now, they might love it or they might think of it now as a job. Like that's not for me to define or assume without asking them, right? But when I ask them, do you think we're rich? They're like, yeah. I'm like, in what ways? And they talked about money. But it's like, is that it? Because I wanted to know as a mom, am I really instilling these values of what a rich life is? Are we happy? Do we have fun? Is there joy? Is there fulfillment? Is it all about chasing the next thing? Are we really enjoying the journey? Are we breaking the cultural norms? Are we allowing ourselves to experience our own definition of success? So I don't put the pressure on my kids because I already put the pressure on myself. I catch myself constantly putting the pressure on because I also am addicted to that. I love being under pressure. I love the challenge of it. I love the overcoming of it. I love the dopamine hits when I'm like really in the moment of it, right? And it becomes an addiction, which is why I burned out twice throughout my sales career. All self-inflicted. It's nobody's fault. All self-inflicted. Did other people play a part in that? Sure. I could have had more boundaries, but outside of that, it was all me. I'm taking ownership of that, right? So I'm telling you all this because you can accomplish so much. And to be successful and fulfilled without sacrificing all that you desire, that you don't have to give up things except for your old version of you. And that's for another podcast. You do have to give up some things, but you don't have to sacrifice one desire for another. So it doesn't have to be this old, outdated cultural way. You can pretty much be in any profession and become a millionaire. You can think of, examples like a school teacher dying with millions, donating to a charity. And the downside of that, yes, giving to charity and millions of dollars when you were quote unquote just a school teacher is a very beautiful act of selflessness and generosity. But in my opinion, and this is to this specific example, why not give to that charity while you're still alive and witness the fulfillment it brings you to see what they do with the money? You as the donor and them as the receiver. Look at professional sports athletes who maybe don't take their monetary investments as seriously. Like, as they're working hard as an athlete, they're also increasing their lifestyle. And when they tragically get injured and they're forced into early retirement and they're like, oh crap, how do I keep up with my lifestyle? And then lottery winners that maybe didn't have the financial wealth prior to winning hundreds of millions of dollars. Research shows that they, within a year or a few short years, run out of all of that money. And they end up in a worse situation. And when they could have just have easily invested some of it or all of it and live off the interest, a really good, rich life, just living off the interest alone, right? So again, all of this to say, it's beyond the money mindset. It's your definition of success. It's the meaning mechanisms that you have and how you are out living and doing and being in life. And if you haven't checked out, I have a free module that I'm giving away for free. It's a module from the Money Codes course, and it's only being given away this month. So go grab it. Once it's down, it's gone. And everybody thinks I'm crazy. I should be charging a little bit for this because this is about discipline equal freedom. This is all the money rules and what rules you can now play by now that you know them. Again, money codes. Discipline equals freedom. If you're not knowing these rules, that means they're not probably working for you and they're probably working against you. Again, it's like gravity. It exists even though you don't see it. This is the energetics behind it. So are you working with them or against them? Go grab that link. It's going to be in the show notes for the podcast. It's going to be in the bio or the comments of one of these social platforms that you're watching this on, and it's yours. And I promise you, it's going to unlock that next level of success, wealth. It's going to give you the tools to rewrite the rules that allow in more abundance than you can have ever imagined or had before. And the question really is, you will or you won't right now. Because if you don't do this right now, you're not going to do it later today. You're not going to do it tomorrow. Years are going to go by. It's the will or won't. You decide and you commit, or you decide and you don't. And again, this is with no pressure. I'm here to support you. And this gets to be fun. And with that, I'm going to give a bonus. Whoever watches that video and sends me something they learned that they're applying, I will give them the AAA Method handout for free. You just have to DM me. Just DM me. That's how easy it is. My team or I will definitely get that to you, but it's only for September. So no more waiting for someday. The time to claim your power now when it comes to your time freedom, when it comes to your money freedom, when it comes to your fulfillment, when it comes to next level success in both business and life. And so I'm going to send you off with so much love. Until next time, bye for now.